another edition of the Women's Basketball Talk Show. I'm Assistant Coach Brandon Bice, joined by always Head Coach David Smalley. Welcome, Coach.
Good to be here, Coach, and we're starting that next and final season. What is that next and final season?
The most important season ahead right now.
Tournament time, baby. Yeah. Tournament time.
Yeah, so before we get into that, let's review our last two regular season games that we both won. That we won both of those, and now we set at 28-2 going into the postseason. So we'll start with, we finished the talk show, and then we got on a bus and we head up to Ohio Christian. And when we got up to Ohio Christian, we didn't expect anything less than a good fight from them, and we were lucky to get out with the W. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, Ohio Christian, it's kind of like one of our rivalry games because we're so close, and every time we play, it's always a great game. And we kind of changed our stars a little bit the last 4 or 5 times we'd played Ohio Christian, whether it was at Rio Grande or in Circleville. They were always up at halftime, but we kind of changed our stars that particular game. We were up halftime, I believe, 43-36, if my memory stands correct. And then came out third quarter, though. They turned it back up, and we tied in the scoring at 24 points each during the third quarter. Then fourth quarter, we kind of took off and outscored them 7. Only won 92-78. So they are always a good team. With Gillum in the post and Bolyard, guard on the out front. They always do a nice job, and they shot 31 free throws and we shot 13, but we're not going to go there. We're not going to complain about that. We got a W, and that was a great win for us in that particular point in time.
I know how hard it is for you not to go into that subject. This is growth. This is definitely growth in your mentorship you've been getting about the officiating from Gary. Yeah. So anyways, when we look at that game, Gillum, my goodness, she has been a thorn in our side, and probably one of the most polite, nice players in the league. But, man, whenever she plays basketball, you look down there, she's got 14 rebounds. She's got 15 rebounds. She's got 20 rebounds. She's got a 20-20 game. Can you kind of talk about, the difference that she makes every time when we have to play Ohio Christian?
Well, she definitely is a difference maker, and she doesn't look like the type of player that she is. She kind of looks a little slow, and, I love you, Miss Gillum, but you do look slow. But then when she turns it on and those first couple of steps, we had trouble. It didn't matter who we put on her. She was in a one-on-one situation, was kind of dealing on us. And she's got a nice little mid-range. She's got up and under. She can use her right and her left hand. And she boards. She just has the knack to go get some offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds for that matter. So a good player and, one of the top players in the conference.
Plays 40 minutes a game for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. And again, they have some other tools that they put together, but man, she really does a good job. And when we play her, our whole game plan and the emphasis is just to slow her down. And 18 and 14, I think we slowed her down a little bit.
We did, and that's a career for most people, and we held her down, so felt good about that.
Looking at some of the stats from our players on that game, you had Kaylee Darnell, 17 points, 5 rebounds. Haley Jordan, 22 points, 7 rebounds. Ellis Gaines, 28 rebounds, or 28 points, 12 rebounds. Coach Markham would be mad if she had 28 rebounds, and 5 assists. But one person, I thought she played a really good all-around game, and sometimes she don't get the praise that some of our other players get because of points and stuff, but China Chambers, number one, is the lockdown defender in the conference. Mm-hmm. And when she guards you, if you get 16 or 18 and you think you had a good game, that's the hardest you've ever worked to score that much. But China had 10 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds, so she was flirting with a triple-double. Can you just kind of talk about, that game, maybe our bench didn't play the role that they maybe have played all season, but maybe the starters carried us a little bit that one, and that's okay because sometimes you just got to step up and carry us.
Well, you do, and you mentioned China. China's the type of player that, she creates a lot of havoc for the opposing teams. And I'm good friends with a lot of the coaches in the league, and they're excited the fact that, China's eligibility's up and she's going to be graduating because China Chambers, is a thorn in just about every team we play on their side. Simply because she can just D up the point guards and create some problems there. And China is an unsung hero a lot of times. Again, she's not scoring as much as she has in the past, but she does all those other things that you just mentioned. Good defense, steals, deflections, assists, things of that nature. And then she creates gets it to the glass and distributes it.
Yeah.
Another player kind of fits that same mold that you just talked about in this particular game. Asia Williams played 14 minutes and really didn't do a lot in scoring and things, but did a lot of good defensive floor, what we call floor game, gets after it. She also defended Bulliard, which is a good point guard at High Christian, and just gave us a lot of minutes there, and her minutes have just continue to increase, and we're excited about what she's doing for us right now, and we're also excited about what she's going to be doing for us in the future.
Yeah, and you're playing her so much, Coach, that sometimes she lets a little stuff leak out onto the court.
Well, now, sometimes body fluids, they got to go. Wow. And sometimes that just happens, and she did it with grace. And if you don't know what we're talking about, she just on the court and went right back in. And I said, hold it in. Don't you let that out. And it came out. We got it cleaned up, and she played. Unbelievable. Really, really appreciate that young lady for handling that.
So leading into the game that she did that was against Oakland City, which was our last regular season game. Now, Oakland City came up here. They're the number 2 seed on the other side of the division. We knew we were going to have our hands full. They came out and smacked us in the face, took the lead. We had to play from behind. They checked our toughness, and that's usually teams don't do that, but sometimes we need that because, it's not that we overlook anybody, but sometimes it's good for a team in our position to get slapped in the face and see how we handle that adversity. Looking at that game, now, Coach, on the flip side of that, I just talked about how our starters carried us that first game against Ohio Christian and did a lot of the work, and they did a good chunk against Oakland City. But let's talk about 2 post players off the bench. I mean, Harley played 16 minutes, gave us 12 points and 7 rebounds, and was perfect from the field. 5 for 5, 2 for 2 from the foul line in those limited minutes. Avery played 21 minutes. She had 7 points, but she had 14 rebounds. And then lastly, you talk about Asia. Asia played 18 minutes that game. Maybe it would have been more. She didn't have to recover from that spill. She gave us 6 points. Or she gave us 4 points, but gave us 6 assists. Mm-hmm. And again, her playing time has went up there towards the end. So kind of talk about that game in general and how our bench played a key role outside of our starters for that one.
Well, Oakland City, first and foremost, and we could possibly see them, if we get by the first round, we could possibly see Oakland City in the second round. They challenged our womanhood and used that off of an interview, I think, out of Tennessee Volunteers coaching staff. They heard them in an interview, and the coach was yelling about they're challenging your womanhood, and we're not handling it very well. And we didn't handle it very well in the first half. Came out the second half, and we handled it extremely well. And you spoke of Harley and Avery and Asia. Again, that was a bench situation that we came out in that third and fourth quarter. I think we outscored them in the third quarter 26-5 or something along those lines. And that was partly due to our bench and the fact that I think we just decided we needed to come out and play and not let them challenge us the way that they did. And then we did a nice job, a good recovery. Avery Harper with 14 rebounds, as you indicated. Avery is capable of coming off the bench and giving us double-doubles. She did that most of this early part of the season. Has kind of faded a little bit, but that's due to the teams that we're playing. Lots in the middle there, a lot of teams that had a lot of smaller lineups. Sometimes it depends on who we're going up against, but Avery was huge during that particular game. And Harley Antrit, she, minute for minute and production per minute, she's got to be right up there. She goes in, just gets it done, knows what she needs to do, has got some grit, plays hard, has that ability to kind of, she's a pinball machine bouncing off some of the bigger post players, but she contains it and handles her body and is able to score and rebound. Then Asia, as we'd indicated, she had 14 minutes against Ohio Christian this game, 18 minutes, did some scoring in this particular game, but has really given us the little push that we need, especially coming in off the bench.
So having key people on the bench that maybe don't show up in a stat line sometimes with different numbers across the board, but maybe you don't get to see the energy and effort that they give. A Mikael Bates who played 8 minutes, but man, they were very effective 8 minutes, and they were helter-skelter because of the energy and effort she brought in. And I particularly thought she played well when it was her and Asia in the game at the same time. Can you kind of talk about the unsung hero that maybe don't show up in a stat line?
Well, and again, I think it goes back to what we've talked all along is our bench and the depth of our bench and the depth at the guard spot. And when you throw a China on somebody, then you come in with an Asia, and then you come in with Mikael, and then you got Zoe that can come in and give a lot of speed and quickness to keep that guard down. That goes a long way. And then when you get into the third and fourth quarter, that's why I believe part of our success has come from the fact that we're able to, as depth-wise on the depth chart, we're able to wear people down at these different positions.
Definitely. So let's look at it. So now we've won the regular season conference championship. So now we get an automatic bid to the national tournament. But that doesn't satisfy us. Now we're in the conference tournament. We're the number one on the East. We're going to play IU Southeast. Last time we hooked up, we beat them 100-96. It was nothing less than a blowout. What people thought, you're going to blow. One, it's always a game when we play IU Southeast, and it seems like there's always something online that we always get matched up with that. Can you kind of talk about what you expect between IU Southeast and Rio? And looking back at the last game, they had three starters scored 79 of their 96 points. Can you kind of talk about that?
Well, the thing about tournament, which is what we're starting in this last part of our season, we break our season down into smaller parts of seasons, and this is the final stage, basically. Everybody's a winner. Nobody's lost. And IU Southeast is going to come in with that mentality. They're going to come in with a lot of, I think, confidence, because you look back at the history, as you alluded to, every game that we've played them has been close. I mean, extremely close. And
buzzer shots.
And it's our last game up here, 100-96, was no different. They've been on our floor. They played up here with a lot of confidence, and now they want to be the spoiler. They're the underdog. They're not expected to win simply because they're the fourth seed and we're the first seed. So we're going to have our hands full. They're very athletic. They can penetrate and drive. They got some kids that can shoot that three. And we're a little different team now than we were back then, but still, we're going to have our hands full. And as you alluded to, Lambden and Miller and Ralph scored 70 some of those points out of the 100 or out of the 96 that they scored. And we got to do a better job of hedging and slowing them down and getting out on shooters. And then we've got to do our job and be us and make sure that we get in transition. And as I recall, I believe that was the game that we had a young lady that ended up with a triple-double and was Player of the Week that week. That would have been Miss Kaylee Darnell. And we need big games from all of our players. The bench needs to rise and shine and make sure that we're all on the same page, because you lose. In our case, we're going to sit out for a week and a half, 2 weeks. So you want to win and advance.
Yeah, several key points that I think that we got to close the gap from the first game. They made 10 threes, we made 2 threes. It's a known fact that we're not gonna make 10 threes in a game. But we just got to close the gap. We can't have 8 or 9 threes differential unless we have 15 to 20 differential in free throws. As you alluded to, Kaylee Darnell had a triple-double in that game, 24 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds. Haley Jordan had 29 points and 7 rebounds, and Aaliyah Kreitz had 12 points to lead us. So it's imperative that we have those people give that production, plus everybody else chip in just a little bit more. But I think we're going to play a little bit tougher defense. I could be wrong. Don't hold me to that. But I'm expecting a better turnout on that. So can you give a last thought for our fans and everybody to come out tomorrow and support us?
Well, I'm going to hold you to that. We don't play better defense than heads may roll. And players, they know that they're going to work on boxing out, getting in front. On that game that when we beat them up here 100-96, we out-rebounded them a whopping 28-25. Get out of town. That's not very good. So we got to take care of the rebounding situation. play for the moment. You got to be dialed in. We got to be focused, and then we got to work on the things that we've been working on in our game plan and practice. And the good thing is we've had 4 days to prepare for them, so I think we're going to be okay. You just got to go out and play. That's what this game is all about. You got to go out and be and live in the moment.
Yeah, they won't be ready for our tricks we have up our sleeves, will they?
No, they won't.
All right, whenever we come back, we're going to have a few of the players up here to speak with them. All right, I am back now, and I am joined by freshman Kaylee Darnell and Asia Williams. Welcome, ladies.
Hello. Glad to be here.
All right, so you just finished up your first year of collegiate basketball with a 28-2 record. Is it everything that you thought it would be, Kaylee?
Yes, it is, yeah. I mean, I expected a really good season, but, boy, it's been dang near a perfect season for us.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Asia?
Yeah, coming in, I was just like, it's a season, it's a new start. We've done better than what I expected, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. With that being said, can you kind of talk about some of the ups and downs as a player through your first year? We'll start with Kaylee.
I mean, I feel like we started our regular season, like those first 10 games when we played Indiana Tech and teams like that. Felt like we were at our peak, like we were playing some really good basketball. Then we went down. We got our first loss. Then I felt like we were down in the valley again. And then I feel like now we're back on the rise. Like, how can you not be hyped up? Like, it's tournament time now. Like, you work your whole season for this time. So I feel like we're at a peak again. So I'm glad to be here now.
Well, if we're only down in 2 valleys, that ain't a bad season. If we're only in 2 valleys. Me and Coach Smalley take that and Coach Markham any day of the week, any season. Sometimes we've been in 22 valleys. So, Asia, can you kind of talk about yours?
I mean, it's kind of like the same way. At the beginning of the season, we were playing great. We had a lot of energy. We were going after everything. And then we went down and, we lost. And then we slowly started coming back up, and then we went back down. But now I think that we're all pumped up and we're all ready to go. Yeah,
definitely. And then let's take a little look back. We got IU Southeast tomorrow. Can you kind of talk about Darnell? That was that your first or second triple-double? It was your first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was your first triple-double. So, playing that high level. Did you ever have a triple-double in high school?
No.
You're saving them all for college. I like it. So, and again, Sydney Holden, which is ironically went to your high school from where you're from, so it's like you know who she is, you know what she's about. To be even mentioned in the same caliber whenever we hold her, Sydney Holden, up here when we talk about her.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about getting a triple-double in a game and what that meant to you?
It meant a lot, especially I never once got it in high school. I mean, it's always been a big goal of mine. I mean, it's a big accomplishment. So getting that first one really felt good to me, especially following in Sydney's footsteps. Just a really good feeling overall.
Yeah. And do you think she's going to be okay when you pass her for career ones?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm going to have to text her and ask her because she had 4.
Yeah.
You already got 2. And we ain't done yet. I mean, I feel like you're about to reel off 3 in a row and just pass that freshman year. If we do that, I may get a plaque made for you.
Okay.
So, Asia, when we're looking at you, I mean, the tale of 2 halves. Now, Kaylee Darnell got inserted into the starting lineup, kind of got through out there. You've been kind of handled with mittens and been able to, take your time in progressing. But, you're definitely playing your best basketball now, whether it's points or not. It's defense and being able to stay in game in crucial positions. Can you kind of talk about how you've evolved and how that's went in your process?
Yeah. Throughout the beginning of the season, I mean, it was a few minutes here and there, which, I was fine with because eventually you have to work to get where you want to be. And now I'm at the point where I feel like I'm trusted by, not even just the coaches, but by my teammates as well. I feel like they trusted me with the ball to get them the ball, especially for open shots and open looks.
Yeah, definitely. And anytime that you feel that, I'm sure it makes you a lot more relaxed because people believe in you. So tonight or tomorrow, we get to play our first conference game. Again, we won the regular season. We got to cut some nets down. That was pretty cool. But, we're not done, and that's the expectations is we want to double dip, which means we also want to be the conference champions. Can you kind of talk about emphasis in practice / what the team's wanting to do tomorrow?
Obviously, it's the first round of tournament. I mean, we accomplished one goal, which was the regular season champions. we have a few more goals that we would like to accomplish. So tomorrow is just the first like stepping stone to this. So like we have to win tomorrow to keep going. So we really need. I feel like we've had a few good days of practice, which have really like built us up to tomorrow. So
Definitely.
Big win tomorrow to keep going and accomplish another goal of ours.
Yep. Asia?
So I feel the same way. I feel like we've had, the past few days of practice have been like we've all been playing great. We've all, had a lot of energy. Like we're all ready for this. And cutting down the season, the net last week, it was a step, but it's not the only step that we want to get towards. So we just keep working until we get there.
Trying to get another picture of net mustaches, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, those freshmen are wild. So, again, won the regular season. We're 3 games away from winning the conference tournament. Then you get to go to a national tournament, which is going to be a whole different experience for you. But to get the experience out as a freshman, you're going to have a lot of expectations for a sophomore year because we don't want to be down in the valleys after you've been at the top as much as we have. But I have a feeling with these 2 freshmen and the rest of the squad that we have and the other freshmen on the team, we probably won't spend too much time down in that valley. So hopefully we get us a win tomorrow, and then next week we'll have a follow-up. Actually, we'll probably push the show back maybe a day so that we can finish the conference championship and just have a wrap-up. But until then, we play at 7 o'clock tomorrow. We will play IU Southeast. It's here at Rio, so please come get that. You can get your tickets online. Go to RioRedStorm.com. It's going to say tickets at the top. Hit the tickets and purchase your tickets there, and we will see you at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Go Red Storm.